This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right, my brother, how are you doing? You hanging in there?
Doing great, man. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. So we got some spring practices. Is that what we call them?
Yeah, spring practice started. Camp, I guess, is the easiest way to remember it. Essentially, you had all the freshmen get out there for the first time. You had some of the transfers out there. So good first day. Obviously no pads because they have the acclimation to putting the pads on, but you got a chance to see some guys and really measure them up more than anything else. Is do they match the roster listing in terms of height and weight? And I can tell you that some of the guys definitely do not match the height and weight of whatever it was they were sold as.
Yeah, I mean, listen. So who stood out to the height and weight? Who impressed? Who didn't?
Well, I don't want to start with the negative, but Luke Nickel, the young quarterback that Miami got out of Georgia, who's a really talented guy that I know people are excited about, was a little on the
not taller than a nickel.
Not very taller than a nickel. No, kind of had Tate Martell vibes in terms of size. Not Tate Martell in terms of arm, but certainly Tate Martell in terms of size. Where you were like, hey, wait a minute, he really isn't 6'2". He's more like 6 feet. But listen, that'll be interesting to see how that transpires going forward. Maybe the kid's not done growing. So maybe he's got a little bit more to grow and he'll add some more inches here the first couple of years of college. But
hey, listen. Some guys are really good in being able to work the windows.
Right.
So if he has anticipatory skills, okay, because that's usually what has to happen with short quarterbacks. Short quarterbacks must have great anticipatory skills, or guys that don't have strong arms. Like Ken Dorsey didn't have a strong arm. So his anticipatory skills had to be elite.
Yeah.
And they were. Just Steve Walsh, anticipatory skills, elite. Why? Because he doesn't have Vinny Testaverde or Jim Kelly's arm. So he's have to do things a little differently than those guys. So that's the part. I don't know anything about Luke Nickel. I've never seen him. But, just in general, if he's short, well, windows and anticipatory skills are going to be two traits he's going to need. And I don't even know if you're going to see that without pads and a real rush and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah. We really won't know until we see him in the spring game. But first look, first impression, like, hey, wait a minute. This guy's a little shorter than the rest of the quarterbacks that are out there. So that was something that you look at right away, right? Because you're always looking at the quarterbacks. Carson Beck was out there, really wasn't doing anything. Still is not going to throw anytime soon. I think, he might hand off and be involved in taking quote unquote mental reps with his teammates. But as far as the quarterback position concerned, that's what stood out to me. Emory Williams is still out there, still throwing the football around. Judd Anderson, the redshirt freshman, who is tall, who is a big guy, who's 6'7", was out there throwing the ball as well. So that was some early impressions there. I thought the thing that impressed me the most was the freshman receivers, the guys that they just added to this roster. And we talked about this before. They're losing 6 of their top 7 pass catchers. So you needed these freshmen to come in and make an impact. It's not like they have time where, hey, take a year to develop. They need Josh Moore. They need Malachi Tony and Dalen Upshaw. And I thought watching those guys go through basic, route running drills, blocking drills, catching drills, coming in and out of their breaks, I thought they didn't look like regular freshmen. I thought Josh Moore, especially, some of the biggest hands I've ever shaken in my life are him and Andre Johnson. So he's from a size perspective, and I think from a skill perspective, I think he's almost as good as Isaiah Horton was, and they just lost Isaiah Horton out the door. So I think the freshman will play and make an impact at the receiver position. And then as far as the secondary is concerned, obviously a lot of new faces. Again, you talk about size. Charles Brantley, super experienced, 24 starts at Michigan State. Reminds me of Torrey Couch. Torrey Couch, very skinny, very small. I think he's probably going to end up being more of a nickel corner, even though he did a good job at Michigan State at the outside corner. I think, I think he's just a guy that's fast, has a lot of ability, but on a size perspective compared to the other guys that they've got, he's smaller. So, but I liked a lot of the guys in secondary. Xavier Lucas, who they got from Wisconsin, big physical guy, NFL type talent. So those are some of the things that stood out to me early on. And again, we watched 40 minutes drills essentially. Oh, so it's not like you can come away with a whole lot. You didn't get to see anybody tackled or, running pads. So those are some of the early thoughts for me.
What was he in his Lamborghini, or did he have a rented car since they stole the kid's car?
I did not see what Carson Beck rolled up to campus in. But he looks like he's happy. We asked some of the players the difference between him and Cam Ward, and Mark Fletcher immediately said they're both alphas. They're both guys that are leaders, that are not quiet. Remember, that was the knock on Tyler Van Dyke, right? That Tyler Van Dyke liked to play.
Wait a minute, they didn't find his car. Hannah dropped him off. They found her
That's true.
car.
They found her car. She's the one that took him. Yes, correct.
So Hannah dropped him off. That's what it is.
That's right. That's what he did. He got a ride from his girlfriend. No, I look, man, like it's so hard to tell really what's going to happen from one year to the next. Mario's right. Every year now in college football, you're essentially building a new team, kind of like you do in college basketball, because of the amount of transfers, because of the guys that leave every single year. So I think initially I left yesterday feeling like this is going to be a better team overall, because I think the defense will be better. But I don't know if they're going to win as many games as they did a year ago, because they had a special quarterback.
Here's my problem with all of this, and I hate to, sorry, Canes fans, I hate to be negative, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a great game day coach.
Right.
I don't see a guy that makes adjustments on the fly or from one half to another. I see a guy that is kind of the same dude all the time, no matter what. And if things go well that day, great. And if it doesn't, there's not a lot of adjustment. So in a world where there's constant roster turnover, in a world where last year Cam Ward bailed your ass out of so many things,
yep,
that Carson Beck cannot do those kind of things. That's not who he is if you watch them at Georgia. So you need a great game day coach in today's college football because of the amount of turnover from one year to another. You got to bring the magic together, and you're probably going to have a different style from one year to another, because again, you're going to have a little bit of a different offense. This year, your running game may have to be even more important.
100%. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think this is going to be a team that's going to need a lot more balance. They're going to need to run some stuff off of play action, get defenses to bite, etc. But my number one concern going into the year was receiver.
Mario's not the guy. That's my problem. So as much as I think the talent might be better, I don't see the chef. It's kind of the same shit I see with the Dolphins. I don't see the chef in the kitchen. I see, I don't know. It's kind of a cookie cutter, classic type of coach that just I don't see a lot of imagination, a lot of adjustments, and I think
there's. I think that's the case across college football. I don't think there's so many examples anymore of Nick Sabans out there. And I think, you saw Marcus Freeman kind of get everything he could out of Notre Dame. Didn't have enough horses to beat, win the national title. But he's a great coach. He's one of the few examples, I think, of guys who overachieve with a roster. Yeah. But I think the rest of them all win because they're just loaded with talent. And last year, Ohio State was ridiculously loaded on both sides of the ball. You know? So
what was the name of the guy that was in Cincinnati? And
who left? Luke Fickell, right? Or was it? Yeah.
Son of a bitch overachieves with his rosters too.
Well, Wisconsin wasn't very good last year.
I mean, Kirby, I know, but that's kind of a transition thing. But Kirby's another guy that's done a marvelous job of transitioning. And I know he gets his talent, but to his credit, you know what I mean? They did a good job. And obviously Ryan Day.
Mm-hmm.
He was almost out the door for one moment because of one bad loss. And then, which can happen to anybody.
Yeah, but that guy wins consistently except against Michigan. That's basically his knock,
Well, I mean, that's kind of, wherever you're at, there's going to be a game, you're Miami, you got to beat FSU. It's kind of the way it goes. You're FSU, you got to beat Miami and Florida. That's kind of, those games are the ones that just kind of come with the territory. Michigan, Ohio State. If you take those jobs, you cannot lose those games. I mean, shit, Harbaugh was getting his ass kicked constantly, and then he won at the end.
Mm-hmm.
He was getting dogged by Ohio State every year. So,
yeah.
Crazy. All right. What do you got going on there at the Athletics so folks can check you out?
Well, I'll be sharing some of my thoughts early on from spring football tomorrow. My story will be coming out tomorrow on things to watch over the course of the spring. We'll have a podcast coming out as well, though I haven't done one in a minute. So I will be doing that, and just plenty of stuff to read. From a national college football perspective, you have all the stuff going on with the ACC and Florida State and Clemson and the SEC and the Big Ten trying to make a power play for the complete control of the college football playoff and getting 4 teams in and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to read from a national perspective what's going on, there's a lot of good stuff to read there.
And I know we do it on Friday with the Big Cheese. By the way, don't forget, use our code BIG010 at Canes where you will get 10% off. But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that while you were there yesterday, they had some visitors.
Yeah.
That were there too. So give us a little info there, because by Friday it'll be a little late for that one.
Yeah, they're going to have guys throughout the entire first week. I think kids are going to be coming in, especially during spring break, from all over the country. And yesterday they actually picked up a commitment from a 3-star offensive tackle, a high 3-star out of Ohio, and Ben Cogden, a kid that that they've been recruiting for a long time. Look, again, Mario's going to continue to do a good job with offensive linemen and defensive linemen and getting big guys to come to the program. He's done it consistently now in all of his recruiting classes. So, we'll see about receiver. They're hoping to get some visitors, to jump on board and to commit here in the weeks ahead. But Congdon is the first sort of big victory. They've got 4 commitments now in the 2026 class, and they're going to be having more people come in throughout the next couple of weeks.
All right, good shit. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro and catch his work there at The Athletic. Manny, appreciate you, my brother. We will catch up on Friday.
Anytime, man. Take care.
Thank you, sir. And Caneswear, 2655 South University Drive in Davie. They got anything and everything practically with the Canes logo on it. And they've got InterMiami gear. They've got Miami Heat gear. They've got Miami Dolphins gear. They've even got Miami Marlins gear. How about that? It's amazing. They should get Fort Lauderdale United gear too. Got to add that now, since we added that team to the mix. Plus, they actually have like really cool stuff. Anyway, check it out. Go to Caneswear. Use our code BIG010. You will get 10% off, and order online over $99. You'll get free shipping. It's a beautiful thing. Caneswear.com.